obviously the economy is not getting better. And obviously there's a big problem, as you saw at Occupy Wall Street, and I want to show you a quick little clip.
Began with a small, disorganized protest on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan here in New York, has grown today to demonstrations nationwide against corporate greed. From New York to LA, even up in Maine, people took to the streets to express their anger and make sure their message is heard. But what exactly is their message? We sent NBC's Michelle Franzen to find out. 2 weeks and counting. Several hundred faithful protesters continue to camp out in a park near Wall Street. Their numbers grow each day, fueled by the power of social media. A few scuffles with NYPD and the common threat of discontent over high unemployment and distrust of government and corporations.
There's something unjust going on right now in this economy and this society.
John Abbott drove from Connecticut to speak out.
Because we can't pay for big expensive lobbyists to work for what we want.
The Senate.
Okay, so no, we can't pay for big lobbyists, but there is something we can do. First thing is to recognize that we are part of the problem. Each and every one of us is responsible for what this country has become. And we can all point fingers, and we can all say it was the government, it was Wall Street, it was those big greedy guys. But to be honest, we have to take responsibility and say we held hands with them as they tore this country apart. And this is what we're seeing today. Increase in national debt and the trade deficit. Everybody sees those news reports all the time. You know, we're in the red, we're in the red. Over-reliance on government assistance. Our taxes can't barely begin to cover the amount of unemployment benefits and health care that people are needing because they're still jobless. And this is all kind of a snowball effect, and what I'm saying about personal responsibility is we have to realize that we are responsible for this one, and it creates other problems. Overconsumption. We buy more than we need, and it creates personal debt as well as snowballing into our national debt. And I'm going to show you a graph here to help you understand what the national debt is and how the trade deficit plays into it. Currently, just like a person, our country is spending more than we make. Our gross domestic product, we've heard that before, GDP, is less than the amount of the money that we spend. What we make, less than what we spend. And we're spending that money with other countries, not here. As you can see, this graph is national debt as a percent of gross domestic product. Basically, what this is showing you, since 1940s up to 2010, basically our debt versus the amount of money that we are bringing in, that we produce as a country, is not holding it anymore. We're somewhere almost at 100%, and the only time it was worse is during World War II, when most of our money was going towards war, and not the Iraq War. This is Bernanke. He's currently still in office at the Federal Reserve Board. He came into office in 2006 with Bush, and he was reappointed by Obama. And this is what he has to say. In 2007, the U.S. imported $1.76 trillion worth of goods and services, while only exporting goods and services valued at $1.15 trillion, leaving a deficit of $666 billion. That's a big number. We are no longer a strong player in the global market place as we once were. And that much is very, very obvious. China, India, they're taking over. Reliance on government assistance is what I was talking about, entitlements. It's the largest segment of government spending by far, and will continue to increase as long as we continue to do what we've been doing, which is pretty much nothing since the recession began. And this graph here, it's the federal and state, shows you where our tax dollars go to. And again, since 1960s up until 2010, you can see that this is the black line, this is entitlements, exponentially growing. And this is national defense down here, education, very, very little compared to what we're spending on all these benefits because people are jobless or because people, they want more from the government than they're willing to do themselves. And the third thing is overconsumption and personal debt. This is Juliet Shore. She's a professor of sociology and also has a PhD in economics from the University of Massachusetts. We Americans have become spoiled and emotionally dependent on spending without knowing why we're buying the things we buy and without knowing why we want the things that we want. We're all guilty of this. And here are the facts. 15% of the the top 15%, sorry, of income earning households are only spending 47% of their income, as opposed to the middle class, which spends 77% of their home income. And the bottom fifth, which is the poor, are spending 182% of their income. That is way, way more, and that's what's creating the debt. My solution, simple, to stop buying it. Stop buying it all. It's twofold. Stop buying political rhetoric, or as I like to say, BS. And also, stop buying into the addiction. The addiction being, it's a metaphor, but we're all addicted to buying, and it's that instant response, it's that instant gratification. And we need to really stop and look and say, hey, if we're going to help our country, we have to help ourselves first. I want you to imagine this too, because part of our responsibility comes with using our American right, our rights as citizens, and a right that we also, it's our responsibility as well. And that is to take part of our government and to actually do something. Not just only vote when the president comes up every 4 years, but actually know, when you look at that ballot, being an informed citizen, not just crossing off, oh, I only know about the president, so I'm going to go ahead and just randomly pick all the other guys on there. Because, yeah, I've seen his name on a sign before, but what does he do? We have no idea. And that's what happens, because we are letting the power that we hold as everyday citizens, we are giving that power to those companies that we spend all of our money with. And that's how they are able to basically take control of your congressmen, your judges. So get out there and vote. Be an American. Be proud to be a part of this country, and do your job. And this is where I want you to start. I sent everybody an email. It's the Florida State Department of Elections, and they have an entire list of everybody who's running currently for this election, as well as people who are going to be coming up for election in the next 2 years. And it gives you information about how they voted on past issues. It gives you all of the information about what their background is, and you can do all of your studying and your homework, because it's important, as much as being a citizen in this country than just living here. It's important to actually take pride and take back control of this country. And the other thing you can do as well is actually read and watch news. And don't just get your news from Facebook and Twitter, because it's honestly, it's all paid for by advertising, and you only get half of the story and you're not getting the whole story. And so again, thank you very much. I'm a proud American, and I hope you are too. Get out there and do your part.
Down 2 with the 3. Folks, that would be it for this semester.